Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Carly Gregg? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Carly Madison Gregg was born on April 23, 2009, and lived in Grande, Mississippi. This town is 13 miles east of Jackson. By 2024, Carly lived with her mother, Ashley Smiley, and her stepfather, Heath Smiley, on the 200 block of Ashton Way. The family occupied a 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom house. Carly's mother, Ashley, was a math teacher at Northwest Rankin High School. Carly attended this same school. She was an exceptional student and had been both the student of the month and the student of the year. Ashley was so academically gifted, she had skipped the 3rd grade. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. During the afternoon of March 19, 2024, the police in Grande, Mississippi received a 911 call from Heath Smiley and responded to the Smiley family house. At the front door of the house, they encountered 39-year-old Heath, injured from a gunshot wound to the shoulder. He informed them that his 14-year-old daughter, Carly, had shot him. Inside the house, they found 40-year-old Ashley Smiley dead in Carly's bedroom. The police found Carly about a half-mile away and took her into custody. Here is what they found during the course of their investigation. Earlier that afternoon, Carly and her mother, Ashley, arrived home from school. The house was equipped with surveillance cameras which captured some of their activity. Apparently, at least one of these cameras covered the inside of the house. As Carly took the dogs outside, her mother, Ashley, could be seen in Carly's bedroom removing some items. It's not clear what she removed, but Carly became aware of what her mother was doing. Carly went to her mother's bedroom and retrieved a .38 caliber revolver. As she walked from her mother's bedroom to her own bedroom, she placed her hands behind her back as if to conceal the weapon. Carly entered her bedroom, pointed the revolver at her mother, and fired 3 times. Her mother was struck twice in the face and once in the chin. After this, Carly exited her bedroom and grabbed her mother's cell phone. Impersonating her mother, she sent text messages to her stepfather, Heath, trying to figure out what time he was coming home. At this point, Carly texted a female classmate of hers, who I will refer to as Jane Doe. She told Jane it was an emergency and she needed to come over to her house. Jane's father drove her to Carly's house. When Jane entered the house, Carly asked her if she had ever seen a dead body. Jane responded, no. Carly took Jane to her bedroom and showed her Ashley's body. She also showed her the revolver she had used to kill her mother. Carly indicated that she had fired the weapon 3 times and still had 3 rounds remaining. These rounds were for her stepfather. She intended to shoot him 2 times in the head and 1 time in the chest. Carly asked Jane if she wanted to wait outside, which is what Jane did. About 45 minutes after the shooting, Heath Smiley arrived home. As soon as he walked in the house, he saw Carly standing in the kitchen with the revolver. Carly fired the weapon 3 times, striking Heath 1 time in the shoulder. Despite being wounded, Heath was able to fight with Carly and take away the revolver. At this point, she screamed and ran out of the back door of the house. Jane had been waiting outside. Both girls jumped over the fence. As I mentioned, Carly was found a half-mile away and taken into custody. Carly Gregg was charged as an adult with first-degree murder, attempted murder, and tampering with physical evidence. If convicted, she is facing up to life in prison for the murder charge, 20 years to life for attempted murder, and 10 years for tampering with physical evidence. The state offered Carly a plea deal. The terms of the deal indicated that she could plead guilty to murder and the other 2 charges would be dismissed. She would receive a sentence of 40 years in prison. Carly declined the state's offer and will be going to trial. At the time I'm making this video, Carly is due back in court on September 10, 2024, for a motions hearing. Now moving to my analysis. There is no question that Carly Gregg shot and killed her mother and attempted to kill her stepfather. Carly's defense will be based on the idea that she was legally insane at the time of the shooting. That is, she did not appreciate the difference between right and wrong. The state, of course, disagrees. From their point of view, it is clear that Carly knew what she was doing. There isn't a lot of mental health information available in this case yet. Much more will come out at trial. However, based on what is available, was Carly guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that she was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Prosecutors said they had information about Carly allegedly bringing contraband to school in September of 2021. The item may have been a knife. Some of Carly's acquaintances said that she talked about killing her mother. Before the shooting, Carly's mother, Ashley, appeared to be removing items from Carly's bedroom. If this provoked the attack, it suggests the motive for the killing did not come from internal stimuli, like Carly was not responding to hallucinations. Rather, she was mad about what her mother was doing in her room. Carly retrieved a revolver and attempted to hide the weapon behind her back. She may have been trying to conceal it from her mother and/or the cameras, but either way, the concealment indicates she knew what she was doing was wrong. Carly fired the revolver 3 times and struck her mother in the head. Clearly, she was trying to kill her. She used her mother's phone to impersonate her in order to ascertain what time her stepfather would be arriving home. Carly invited a friend to her house and showed her Ashley's body. It is clear Carly understood that she had killed someone. She explained to the friend how she intended to use the remaining 3 rounds in the revolver to kill her stepfather, even discussing shot placement. When her stepfather arrived home, Carly tried to kill him with the revolver. This is exactly what she said she was going to do. At some point prior to shooting her stepfather, Carly must have removed at least one of the interior surveillance cameras because it was found in the refrigerator. After the shooting, Carly fled. These are the behaviors of someone who knows the difference between right and wrong. Carly's methodical, homicidal behavior is not consistent with a person who has disconnected from reality. When she was being processed by the police, Carly made a statement indicating she understood how bail worked, saying something to the effect of, "You kill somebody and pay a lot of money to get out of jail." Moving to the exculpatory factors, Carly appears to have some type of mental health history, although the details have not yet been revealed. Her defense described her mental status as fragile. She had a history of taking psychotropic medication. 5 days before the killing, she was switched from an unnamed medication to the antidepressant Lexapro. Allegedly, while in jail, Carly has been hearing voices, like she has auditory hallucinations. Her defense claimed that she was put on Abilify in jail. This is an antipsychotic medication. It is frequently used to treat people who have disorders like schizophrenia, major depressive disorder, or bipolar disorder. After shooting her mother, Carly was captured on video singing to her dogs. This behavior is unusual and bizarre under the circumstances. Furthermore, her stepfather said that during the struggle for the revolver, Carly's eyes were big, like she had seen a demon. Carly's defense attorneys claim that the stepfather is standing behind her. If this is true, it could indicate that the stepfather is aware that Carly has some type of serious mental health condition. Why else would he be willing to support her after what she did? When considering the available evidence in this case, do I think that Carly is guilty of murder? Yes, I believe she is guilty, but there is a lot of information missing from this case. Carly's defense attorneys appear to be confident they can put on a strong insanity defense. They must have something to work with to maintain this position. I wouldn't be surprised if Carly had a history of psychosis, which could increase her chances of an acquittal. Despite this, the insanity defense is not a reliable way to avoid being convicted, even in cases where it appears legitimate, as it may be with Carly. A conviction is the likely outcome. A person can be psychotic and still know the difference between right and wrong. The insanity defense is always a gamble and often introduced because no other defense is available. Moving to the last question, What does the research literature tell us about parricide? The term parricide technically means killing a close relative, but it's almost always used to mean killing one's parents. Matricide is killing one's mother, patricide is killing one's father, and parricide typically means killing a parent. In the case of Carly, I will look at both matricide and double parricide. Matricide because she killed her mother, and double parricide because she intended to kill both her mother and her father. Matricide is a rare offense. In the United States, there are only about 100 cases a year. Only 16% of these cases involve a daughter as a perpetrator. 80% of the daughters are over the age of 18. Carly was only 14. In 75% of the cases, daughters who kill their mother suffer from a mental disorder associated with psychosis. For example, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, a major mood disorder, brief psychotic disorder, or delusional disorder. Command hallucinations and delusions of being persecuted or controlled are common. Now looking at double parricide, it is extremely unusual to see a daughter commit this offense. Almost all double parricides are committed by sons. In one study that looked at 35 double parricides over a period of 20 years, 96% of the perpetrators were sons. Parricidal offenders in general are almost always psychotic, although there have been a few cases where the perpetrator had strong antisocial tendencies without psychosis. Juvenile parricide is essentially impossible to predict. It has a very low base rate, and there is usually little history of delinquent or violent behavior. Currently, there are no available risk assessment instruments which are useful in predicting an act of juvenile parricide. When considering the findings in the research literature, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Carly had a history of psychosis, which in some way contributed to the shooting. Perhaps she thought her parents were demons, they were working for the CIA, or were in some other position that frightened Carly. Despite being psychotic, she still understood what she was doing was wrong, therefore runs a high risk of being convicted. Even if she did know the difference between right and wrong, conviction is the likely outcome. Carly's defense will no doubt highlight the psychosis as well as her young age. A jury might be sympathetic because Carly looks even younger than her stated age. Furthermore, she has been dressing in school uniform-style outfits for court. I don't know where this idea came from, but it seems like she is doing this to appear younger. Maybe her attorneys made this recommendation. Who knows? Another way to view Carly's apparel selection is that she looks like she is auditioning for a Stephen King movie. Making Carly look creepy and frightening is probably not going to win points with the jury. Now moving to my final thoughts. As I mentioned, a double parricide committed by a juvenile is rare and functionally impossible to predict. With that in mind, are there any lessons in this case? Is there anything that could have been done to prevent this tragedy? Normally, there isn't, but in this case, one item does stand out to me. How did Carly access the .38 caliber revolver? Did she use an angle grinder to cut off the trigger lock or drill into a gun safe? Or was the weapon unsecured? Did she load the weapon or was it already loaded? If there was an unsecured and loaded firearm in the same house as a 14-year-old girl with a history of psychosis, somebody made a bad decision. Those are my thoughts on the case of Carly Gregg. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They consistently generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.